Rutland, Vermont. January 31st, 2002. 5:35 in the morning. Snow is falling, not heavy. Just enough to dust the streets, to muffle the sound of footsteps, to make everything feel slower than it is. Inside the Berkshire Armored Car depot, two guards are starting their shift. They don't know each other well. They're not supposed to. That's the point. Each guard knows only half the combination to the vault. Neither one can open it alone. It's a security measure designed by people who understand that trust is a liability. But someone else understands this too. Someone is watching, waiting, counting the minutes until both guards arrive. Because that's the only window that matters. The only moment when the vault can be opened at all. At 5:35 a.m., a lone gunman steps out of the darkness. He's armed. He's calm. He knows exactly what he's doing. The first guard freezes. The second guard reaches for something, a radio maybe, a phone. It doesn't matter. The gunman is already giving instructions, specific instructions. He knows there are two combinations. He knows each guard has one half. He tells them to open the vault together. They do. Inside, $1.9 million in cash. Stacks of bills bound with rubber bands, sorted by denomination, waiting to be loaded into armored trucks and distributed to banks across Vermont. The gunman doesn't rush. He loads the money into bags. He walks out the door. He gets into a van that was reported stolen from a local cleaning company. And he drives away. By the time the sun rises over Rutland, the van is found abandoned on Forest Street. The money is gone. The gunman is gone. And the two guards are left standing in an empty vault, trying to explain what just happened. Here's what makes this story different from every other heist you've ever heard. They never caught him. Not in 2002, not in 2003, not in a decade of investigation by the FBI, local police, and federal agents who were absolutely certain this was an inside job. The case went cold. Then it went colder. In 2012, the FBI officially closed the investigation. No arrests, no convictions, no suspects ever named publicly. And then something remarkable happened. The statute of limitations expired. Do you understand what that means? It means that even if investigators found the person who did this tomorrow, even if they had a confession, surveillance footage, and the stolen cash sitting in a basement somewhere in Vermont, the most serious charge they could bring is tax fraud, failure to report income, a paperwork crime. The robbery itself, legally untouchable. Somewhere in Vermont, there is a person who stole $1.9 million and got away with it completely. Let's talk about what the FBI knew. They knew the timing was too perfect to be coincidence. The gunman arrived at the exact moment when both guards were present, the only window when the vault could actually be opened. That's not luck. That's intelligence. That's someone who studied the schedule, who understood the security protocols, who knew things only an insider would know. They knew the robber's behavior was too confident. He didn't hesitate. He didn't panic. He gave precise instructions about the dual combination system as if he'd rehearsed this moment 100 times in his head. As if he'd been waiting for it. They knew the van was stolen locally, which suggested the perpetrator lived in the area, knew the streets, knew where to find an unmarked vehicle that wouldn't draw attention at 5 in the morning. And they knew that Berkshire Armored Car had employees, former employees, people who had quit or been fired, people who might have memorized the procedures, the schedules, the vulnerabilities. The FBI looked at all of them. They interviewed dozens of people. They followed leads that went nowhere. One tip said $100,000 was hidden at the bottom of a quarry in Proctor. Divers searched. Nothing. Another tip pointed to an apartment above a pizza place called Caramia's. Investigators checked. Nothing. One woman accused her ex-husband. Another accused her father. Dead ends. All of them. But there was one lead that always bothered the people who remembered this case. John Casarino was the mayor of Rutland in 2002. He got the call the morning of the heist and watched the investigation unfold from the inside. Years later, he was still asking questions. One question in particular. There was a man who had been the manager of Berkshire Armored Car for years before the robbery. He knew everything about the operation, the schedules, the protocols, the dual combination system. And shortly before the heist, he moved to Arizona. Casarino always wondered why the FBI never questioned him more aggressively. Maybe they did, and it led nowhere. Maybe they didn't have enough to bring him in. Or maybe, in a small town where everyone knows everyone, certain questions are harder to ask than others. The manager was never charged, never publicly named as a suspect. He may have had nothing to do with it, or he may have known exactly how to disappear $1.9 million without leaving a trace. That's the thing about unsolved cases. The absence of answers creates space for speculation. And in Rutland, Vermont, speculation became a kind of local folklore. Everyone had a theory. The bartender at the corner pub, the clerk at the hardware store, the retired cop who swore he knew who did it, but could never prove it. 20 years later, the theories are still circulating. The money is still missing, and the person who took it is still free. Think about that for a moment. Think about waking up on a January morning, driving to a job that pays you modestly to protect other people's money, and deciding that today is the day you stop protecting it. Today is the day you take it for yourself. Think about the discipline required to plan something like this. To study the schedules, to acquire a weapon, to steal a van, to show up at exactly the right moment, when both guards are present, when the vault can be opened. Think about the self-control required to execute it cleanly. No violence, no witnesses beyond the two guards, no forensic evidence left behind. And think about the patience required afterward. The FBI is watching. The town is talking. Every large purchase, every unexplained vacation, every new car in the driveway would raise questions. You'd have to sit on that money for years, maybe forever, spending it slowly, carefully, in amounts too small to notice. Or maybe you'd never spend it at all. Maybe the money is still sitting somewhere, untouched, a retirement fund for a crime that can no longer be prosecuted. The Berkshire heist isn't famous. There's no documentary, no Hollywood movie, no podcast with millions of downloads. It's just a story that people in Vermont still tell each other. A reminder that sometimes the system fails. Sometimes the invisible man wins. $1.9 million, one gunman, 0 convictions. The FBI closed the case. The statute of limitations expired. The investigation is over. But somewhere in Vermont, or Arizona, or anywhere in the world, really, there's a person who knows exactly what happened on the morning of January 31st, 2002. They've kept that secret for more than 2 decades now. And unless they decide to tell someone, they'll keep it forever.